Hey everyone, welcome out to episode 110 of a Nerd Mark podcast. Hey, I'm back home. I thank everyone who checked out episode 109, both audio and video. Obviously, traveling, I had a lot of videos to edit and render and this and that, but I didn't factor in shitty internet. So I didn't really get to upload a lot of stuff. So I've been playing kind of catch up since I've been home and also fighting being sick. But it was a nice 7, almost 8 days of just getting to see my family. Went to a wedding. It was a lot of fun. Got to you'll see all the stack stuff. Got to do a little shopping, both here in San Diego and in Connecticut. It was so I'll be getting into that. But before I go into the main topic, thanks to the plane ride. It's a long day of flying, honestly. And I was able to catch up on some manga and anime, and in Google Docs offline mode, I got a lot of stuff done from a content planning standpoint. So I'm going to be, briefly touching on all that stuff. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. It is so nice because it's been, as much as I love traveling, the weather there compared to here, just not the same. Like, it was at most maybe almost 60 degrees, a lot of rain, and then we arrived like 9:30 Wednesday night, and then Thursday it was 104 degrees. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get sick with this weather change. This is not gonna be good for me, and it hasn't been. So I'm gonna be heavily editing the audio, both on the video and audio version of this podcast episode, because I can tell you right now, my throat, my voice is so cracked, like just it's bad, and I've been coughing a lot too. Um, it's not the thing that's been going around for 2 years. Did a little at-home tests, and that came back negative. So it's just between my allergies and just germs and traveling and the drastic weather change. That's it, really. So, got a lot of stuff to go over in this episode. Uh, I, New manga. I actually bought some comics from my comic book shop. I haven't gone in a couple weeks. They save everything for me, so my back issues are drastic right now that I have to go through and read. Um, got some new collectibles, merch. I love merch, and not just tokusatsu stuff and nano blocks that you can see right there, but just little things here and there. And I was gonna go over all the stuff that I brought home because I brought an empty suitcase and filled it with stuff back home and brought it back with me. But I think I'm gonna do that for another video just because of how stacked this episode is gonna be with stuff. And catching up on shows like Halo, the start of Moon Knight, and this and that. Uh, Obviously, being at home, not much to do, not adjusting to the time zone change. I got to browse a lot of YouTube and internet hot takes on stuff. So I'm actually going to be revisiting a video I did, not for a podcast, but on YouTube, talking about kind of the pushback that Marvel's getting, DC's getting with them being woke and all this other stuff. So my main topic is I'm gonna be going in on how, not debunking it, but how it's being over embellished and how these shows are actually, some of these shows are good. Now I'm not saying Halo's good, okay? I'm telling you right now, but yeah, I want to just talk about that stuff briefly at the end, not for a long drawn out thing. I want to keep it quick, make my points, and go from there. Um, yeah, I got the Switch going. If you're watching, been playing some Rune Factory 5. That has been the main game. When I get into game stuff, we'll be talking about that. But let's start with the easy stuff. Let's go with non-comics and manga. So, um, while I was in Connecticut, I, I noticed a lot of my favorite shops I used to go to have closed, and that was kind of crappy. Like I used, and it's uh, let's see, I moved back to Connecticut back in like 2015 for like 10 months. Stay with family. There was a major death in the family at home, and had to, I stayed and you know helped out where I could, and kind of just rebooted my life to an extent. Uh, you know, I was turning 30, and I just was like, you know what? I gotta figure out what I want to do, where I want to go with everything. So Um, that was, a big year. Eventually, I'll do an origin story of like everything that led to this podcast and how basically 2015 was like the year that was the catalyst that started the domino effect that led to this podcast and streaming and now, doing YouTube stuff. So, a lot of my shops were closed and I was like, oh shit. So in the area, all they had really was like Barnes and Noble and Newberry Comics. And I used to go to Newberry Comics. I used to be my go-to place because it was closer than the mom and pop comic shop I used to go to. And, if I wanted to do the drive, it was an extra like 15 minutes on top, like of what it would be. And I would do it. But for like a weekly, it was in a mall. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go to GameStop, get some food, go shopping. Might as well stop in Newberry Comics. So I went in there and I was like, oh, not much comics. A lot of pop culture stuff. It's kind of like the whole change in Hot Topic where it went from, oh, you want all these band t shirts? Cool. Now it's Funko Pops, anime stuff, this and that, and not as much band t-shirts. So Newberry Comics, I actually didn't get anything there, but I did go to Barnes and Noble, and they had some nano blocks. So I got 3 more sets for Demon Slayer. I got Tengen, I got Mitsuri, and then I got Obanai Iguro. So those are gonna be made and put up on the YouTube channel at some point. Um, I still have I still have a backlog of like 7 or 8 other sets to make. Um, I also got. I wish I saved the bag so I can remember what the name of the store was. There's this like little Japanese little store in a mall here in San Diego, and they used to be like one of those like $5 and under like Japanese little collectible store and stuff like that. And then they changed their stuff around, and they had nano blocks also. So I finally got Gengar, which makes me really excited. And then I got Score Bunny and Grookey. So now I have all 3 of these starters from Sword and Shield, and I got my favorite Pokemon of all time, Gengar. He will always be my favorite, up there with Espeon and Sylveon, because yes, I like Sylveon. Sylveon is one of my favorite Pokemon as well. And I'll probably do a video about my Pokemon, dive into the different characters and this and that. So those are my nano blocks. Also from Barnes and Noble. And this isn't like organized by like what I got in Connecticut, what I got in San Diego. I'm going by types. So Barnes and Noble here in San Diego, they every once in a while they do the cheap stuff, and I got my Ultraman Ace Funko Pop for $6. Now I know I have been adamant that I do not dabble in Funko Pops anymore. I stopped, and I got rid of most of my Funko Pops. Just the Ultraman ones I keep because they go good on display. So now I just need Father of Ultraman. I have the whole set. I got the regular Ultraman. Obviously, in one of my previous episodes, like months ago, when I went to like a swap meet type thing, I found the glow in the dark Ultraman one for a steal. It was under 10. So the Ultraman Funko Pop collection is almost done unless they do another wave, and then yeah, I'm screwed. So another thing from a collectible standpoint that arrived while I was gone. That's right, Kamen Rider Soto Revice by 6. I've already started building it. You could already see the Patera genome for Vice right behind me. If you're a Toku fan and you like Kamen Rider, you know what that is. I was really excited that got delivered. Oddly enough, I got it from my guy in Japan. I ordered it literally on a Sunday here in the United States. Or no, Monday. But it was early in the day. Or no, it was late Sunday. Yeah, because it was Monday in Japan, but it wasn't end of day yet. And the guy brought it to FedEx same day on Monday in Japan. And I was like, okay, cool. The tracking said it would be here like Friday, Thursday at the earliest, Friday at the latest. I was like, cool. I get in Wednesday night. I can, relax, get everything done. It'll be delivered Thursday or Friday. I still got days off because from work for vacation. I'll build it, have some fun. Literally arrived while I was in the air. Like when I landed out my layover in Houston, I had an alert on my phone, hey, your package was delivered. And I was like, it's Wednesday. What the frick are you talking about? Like I just paid for this not even 48 hours ago. And it was here. And I messaged him, I was like, man, your shipping is so good. Like this is why you get my money. This is why I love you. Like you hook it up with the pricing. My shipping is $8 US every time for FedEx from Japan to the US, and I get everything at the most 3 business days later. I've never waited longer than 3 business days. So that was fun. I already built all of them. I have a full video going up with, like I do for my Sotos, going over a showcase of the whole entire like wave set. So that I have to work on as well. I got a lot of videos to work on, honestly. And next up, uh, you know, it was fun being in Connecticut. I'm not gonna downplay it. Like, I had a blast seeing family, friends, everything else. And but there's something about being in San Diego when I want to toy hunt and figure hunt and collectible hunt that just blows it out of the water. Maybe it's because of I don't have to drive as much, and while I was in Connecticut, didn't have a car, so that was very limiting. But coming back here, I went to Mitsuwa. They are still on Kamen Rider Revised by 4, so they're 2 behind still, and but they did have the new Converge waves, so I had to get my Revy and Vice Converges. Like, those were needed. Uh, Anyone who knows me knows the Converges are slowly becoming my new collectible addiction. Um, Usually I buy the sets online, so I get the whole set, and it's a lot cheaper because the grocery stores out here mark those up like crazy. Like, you can get a full set that'll be, I think, 6 or 8 of them for like $40, so it's about $5 each. But out here they mark them up to like 8, sometimes even $11 each, and it's ridiculous. But I got those two. I'm probably gonna buy the whole box to get the other ones. But I saw those in person, and I was like itching to spend money. Like, I was like, it's like I didn't get any good stuff. And there's also one more thing. Woo, it's wheel. I had to hit up Book Off because Book Off's my go-to place here in San Diego. And I tweet about them all the time, post about my stuff I get there, and they had this figure for Shadow Moon, and with Kamen Rider Black Sun coming out this year in the showing reveal of Shadow Moon and Kamen Rider Black, what they looked like, I was like, well, you can't see it. I have a huge deluxe type 2009 Shadow Moon still in the box on top of my bookshelf, but I don't have any other Shadow Moon stuff, so I was like, let me get that. That I need that. And the other cool thing about Book Off is I didn't know this because I've been, and I wish I knew this sooner because I feel like I was wasting money, but I don't have buyer's remorse for spending the money previously. You can do magazine subscriptions there for Japanese magazines. And one of the main ones for anyone who likes Super Sentai or Kamen Rider is the Televikun magazine. And so I signed up for it like before I left. And I was like, and they called me while I was they're like, hey, Book Off calling. We want to let you know your magazine subscriptions arrived. Like, pick them up whenever you can. So I called them back. I was like, hey, I'm traveling. I'll be back. I'll probably come in Friday or Thursday. And they're like, okay, no problem. I'm like, cool. And so I went actually the next day, Thursday, to get them. And so I got the newest issue of Television. This is going to be for May. So the issues they released in April are for, the next month. So the one you get in April is for May. May is for June. But the cool thing is they always come with stuff. So this has, the new Don Brothers device that you can like build out of cardboard with the stuff, and then they have a Pokemon little container right here that you can fold up that actually holds from their like Ganbarizing type game these little chips, which I have a Mewtwo one. I got it at Book Off, and I was looking for a Gengar, and I was like, oh, I like that Mewtwo. Let me grab that for $1. So it's an arcade machine. You have these. It has a little QR scan on it, and basically you use the one you have to play, and the Pokemon comes up on screen, and you battle with it. It's really cool. Obviously, sadly, no machines here for that, but I I collect a lot of shit. I really do. But so for those of you who are listening, I apologize because I'm like showing stuff, And you guys, so head over to the YouTube channel and check it out so you can see. I'm also dabbling with putting segments of the podcast up for those who want to just watch specific parts, and then the whole show on its own. So I'm really excited. I wanna get into comic books because I haven't pulled any in a while, and because I'm not pulling every week. Like I said, I have a subscription. They set them aside. I get them at my convenience, and since I'm doing so much trade waiting right now, still, um, there's no real reason to, no sense of urgency for me to pick up my comics. So I have a lot. This isn't even Jane Circuit. Like I already boarded and bagged them because I was bored last night, and I was like, you know what, let me board and bag and read and catch up. So, um, and then I'm gonna actually, for those of you who uh know about my Nerd Name Mark reviews podcast RSS feed, I apologize. I have not been neglecting it. I just haven't been doing any reviews. I haven't been motivated really to review anything right now. I don't know why. Just haven't been feeling it, you know. A lot of stuff I watch hasn't like really been worth reviewing, I guess you could say. Plus the fact that, if you watch the Halo episode I did with Chris, I went on a little spiel where I said, you know, if I don't like something, I'm not going to waste my time creating content to talk about it negatively. Like that's just, I'm not going to waste my energy being negative about something. So I'd rather talk about things I like, things I enjoy. Now, there's a difference between, you know, doing a video being critical of something and this and that, than compared to just like shitting on it. All right. So I'm not saying I'm not going to make a video where I'm critical of something when I'm reviewing or talking about it and things that could be better. That's different. I'm saying I'm not going to make hate and like anger fueled videos about stuff. I just don't have the energy for it, and I don't want to be a negative person. So it's like if I don't like something, I'm just not gonna watch it. And it's like, and trust me, life is so much better when you have that mentality. So sadly, none of my comics right now are in um order. I didn't put them in order of number, this and that. So this is gonna be very out of no chronological order. This. So right off the bat, I have Radiant Red 1 and 2. I have to read these. I didn't read them yet. I still have to catch up on Radiant Black and everything else. But this is a 5-issue run that's going on right now with Image. I'm curious because I do like Radiant Black. I'm hoping Radiant Red is good. Another one, we got Miles Morales number 36. I am surprised I'm still pulling Miles Morales Spider-Man. Um, one of the funny thing is, so I have my pull list and I have Miles Morales Spider-Man. That's it on the list. Nothing. And they put like a what if, like, hey, here's this Miles Morales what if, like he was like Captain America, and they're like, do you want those? I'm like, no, I just want Miles Morales, just Spider-Man. This run is good. It's not the best. It started off pretty strong. When they were doing a lot of the team up stuff, you had like Rhino there and Captain America and stuff like that. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Um, Going into the Clone Saga, I was like, yeah, they put a new spin on it, but I was like, are we rehashing a lot of just Spider-Man stuff now with Miles Morales? And I was like, you had a chance to just super original with everything going on, and it's like I just don't. You don't need to rehash Peter Parker stories for Miles Morales. Miles Morales is not Peter Parker. Peter Parker is obviously not Miles Morales, and I just I don't know. Like it's still good. It's not bad, but the run just isn't what it was when it started. So I'm gonna pull it for now, but I'm not sure how much longer. I may, just because from a Spider-Man standpoint, I'm a completionist. I'm still trying to finish my amazing Spider-Man run with having that complete. Not the new Amazing Spider-Man, the original when they went into Superior, everything pre Superior Spider-Man. I'm trying to get all those. So like I want to complete 1 through 700. I know that's, ridiculous to think, because that's going to be freaking expensive, and especially for some of those, but it's like I already have most of the key issues anyways. So I'm just like, I can do this at some point. This is like, that will be my grail, is a complete amazing run. So I think I might just pull it, just because Spider-Man, and like, is one of the only Marvel ones where I'm like, I want this collection, because I love Spider-Man. Like, I've been adamant that Spider-Man is what, got me into comics as a kid. My first comic I bought with my own money was a Spectacular Spider-Man, and it was around like the 25th anniversary, I believe, of Spider-Man. I don't know. I have the comic in one of my boxes. One day I'll go through and like pull it out and bring in, talk more about my love of Spider-Man. But I'm giving Miles Morales a chance still. Uh, I don't know. I mean, when you're 36 issues in, and nothing against Ahmed, good writer. Sometimes you kind of need another perspective, another writer to come in, maybe shake things up, and get a new, fresh set of eyes, storytelling on it. So I'm gonna continue with Miles Morales Spider-Man for now. I'm not sure where that's gonna go in the future. So next up, we have I have Power Rangers number 17. I think I think this is the last Ryan Parrott one. I'm not sure, because I know he's not writing Mighty Morphin anymore. Also, like cover 6, and um, there's no connecting cover, and I was kind of confused by that. And I also got Mighty Morphin 17, which is written. I don't know who. Like, I'm not up on a lot of writers, so it's a new writer for Mighty Morphin. Um, But then, I have my staples, because I mean, it wouldn't be a comic book poll section if I didn't talk about Donnie Cates crossover number 12. This is still one of my favorite new comics from last year. Image is doing a good job with everything, with, Kyle Higgins, Radiant Black, Donnie Cates with crossover. Now you got Ryan Parrott coming over with Rogue Sun, and I'm like, you know what? Screw you, Image Comics, giving me all this good comics, because I've been very adamant that like my pull list is getting smaller and smaller from like DC, Marvel. Like, I'm not pulling anything from DC right now. I'm just trade waiting for a lot of stuff. But like Boom Studios, Image, even like Dark Horse, like all these other, like, man, they are just siphoning my money. I was like, all this stuff from Image is really good, and it's like I chalk it up to like 2015, when Boom came out. Like, Boom was already around, obviously, but we had uh issue 0 Power Rangers. I was like, ooh, Power Rangers. I remember going to the comic book store, seeing a cover with the Red Ranger, Jason holding his helmet. It was just a helmet cover. And then I was like, oh, there's different. Got the whole stack of one of each helmet one. And then I was like, yeah. And it was like one of those things, like, this is good. And at the time I was pulling Green Lantern, because I was burnt out. I had just gone through Brightest Day, Blackest Night, New 52s, everything else. I was burnt out on comics, especially from a DC standpoint. And this was around the time a lot of things were like freaking rebooting. And I'm like, I don't want any more reboots. Like, I was like, I think rebooting comic things are just lazy. But I get also the time frame of when they do it. It's like, oh, let's get some new writers in. Also, the movies, like the MCU and this and that, were really hitting their stride. So people are like, oh, let's get some comic sales going. So I get the logistics, and from a business standpoint, why they did it. For me, I was like getting burnt out. I was like, I'm done. Like, I gotta watch all these movies on top of these comics. Like, let me just cut back on. So, you know, Power Rangers kind of renewed my interest in comics, like fully collecting, reading, getting back into them fully, and I was so excited. Now, in the last year or so, I've been toning down things like Radiant Black, crossover. Donnie Cates writing Thor, now writing Hulk, Power Rangers, like I'm, I'm getting, I'm genuinely getting back into comics, and it's making me, I'm very happy about it. Like, because I don't want to be the type who's like, I don't want to read comics. I'm always going to want to read comics. I'm always going to be a comic book collector. Like, I've spent 30 years reading and collecting comics. It's a big part of, not just who I am, but like what I love. It's like I tell everyone, like the reason why build nano blocks and Gundams and this and that, like that is my stress relief. That is how I unwind, how I relax, how I just, after a long day, just put on my headphones, put on a podcast or an audiobook, just build something. I feel better. That's what calms me down and relaxes me. So, having some comics in my life, all for it. Speaking of, I mentioned Ryan Parrott. I've only said the name a few times. I wonder if it's like a Beetlejuice situation. I keep saying Ryan Parrott's name. Is he going to show up and sign some comics for me? Because I have some of his Mighty Morphin about. But I'd like to get this Rogue Sun issue 1 signed by him. Oh, this cover is so sick. I'm sorry for those who are listening. Please, if you're listening, go check out the YouTube channel so you can see these covers. And because it's been so long, I also have issue number 2. Like, I am going to be, after conversations and planning stuff out, I am going to be reviewing more comics now, both in video and audio format. So you can expect some comic book reviews coming soon to the channel. Because like I said, this year I want to expand more into covering more stuff, not news, but like reviewing comics, going over like the candy toy announcements, this and that. I just don't want to be the podcast episode and then Toku stuff. I want to have kind of, if you are watching or listening to the podcast, you get a full multitude of like that wide spectrum of other stuff being made in conjunction with it. And I have Hulk number 5 with the Unfriendly Neighborhood Spider Hulk. Okay, let me just tell you, Donnie Cates. Just directly to Donnie Cates right now. If you're still listening and watching, it's fine. You can, but this is me talking to Donnie Cates. Sir, you are writing some good shit. Like, thank you. Thank you for writing good comic books that I enjoy. They might not be everyone's cup of tea. I've been on social media. I know how social media works. But for me personally, I appreciate all the stuff you're writing between Hulk, who I now care about, who I haven't cared about in a long time. Thor, who I didn't really care about until, Original Sin, maybe, when he lost the hammer, and then going into Jane Foster as Thor, and then leading into like War of the Realms and him becoming the Allfather, and now with your, I think we're on issue 23 of your run for Thor. I was like, you know what? Thank you. You just like Thor. I now care about Hulk again. Weapon H was good. Immortal Hulk was good, but they weren't just a straightforward Hulk comic. This is a Hulk named comic. Thank you. I appreciate you. That being said, I got issue 13 of Radiant Black. The covers are getting. I'm a cover whore. I'm not even gonna lie. Anyone who knows me, cover whore for comic books, and I enjoy it so much. And for the last boom one, I actually got the Power Ranger Universe issue 4. This is a Pink Ranger themed cover. Like I said, until I think this is a 6-issue run. I'm not reading Power Ranger Universe until it's done. I will read it completely. But I do like how each cover is a specific color ranger theme. I believe all we have left is yellow or black. I know we had blue and red already, and pink. I think we already had yellow. I'm not sure. And speaking of Donnie Cates, we're back. Donnie Cates, just letting you know. Thor 23. It's the finale of the God of Hammers, and this cover. I like that cover. The cover's so good. I'm really enjoying like this run of Thor. Like I said, I've never really actually cared about Thor as a character. I remember the first time I tried to get into Thor comics was after watching I picked up this DVD set, and it was for the original Lou Ferrigno like Hulk live action show, and it had some of the specials. And there's one where like there was an issue with there's one where like Thor was there. There was one where we had I forgot the other one, but I remember after I was like, Thor, what's Thor? I was like, this is interesting. I was like, I will, let me look into this Thor character. And then I was like, it's all right. And last but not least, I believe this is the final issue because usually they're 4 to 5 issues. The Life is Strange Settling Dust comic. So a lot of people get shocked when I say that I'm a huge Life is Strange fan. 2, not so much, but first one, Before the Storm, True Colors. I'm a huge Life is Strange fan. And Titan Comics has been doing such a great job with these Life is Strange comics. They're usually like 4 or 5 issue arcs, and they don't come out frequently. It's like after 4 or 5 issues, it's like, okay, there's a prolonged break, and then they'll come back with another arc. I lied, I have more comics, by the way. So I've been really enjoying that. It's the same way with this other new one I got from Dark Horse for Stranger Things. And this is the Kamchatka story arc. So this one is going to be probably telling some of the stuff from the other side of the world with the portals. And then this is, the review is coming for this. I got 2 different covers. Godzilla versus Power Rangers. Like this is a crossover I didn't know I needed, and it's Boom Studios in conjunction with IDW, because IDW has the Godzilla rights for comics. And I read it like first thing right when I got home after getting my comics, and I was like, ooh, okay, this is entertaining, this is interesting. I didn't know I needed this crossover, and yeah. And before, this is my last one. So people around the comic book shop know me. Every once in a while, they'll be like, hey, here's an issue number 1 of a new IP that just came out. It might be something that might intrigue you. And I'm like, okay. And so they put this one from Image. I didn't tape it yet because I actually just finished reading it before I started actually recording. It's called Little Monsters. It's from Jeff Lemire, author, writer of Sweet Tooth and a few other comics. I only know him from Sweet Tooth. And I was like, you know what? Cover got me. And they're like, and I was like, what's it about? And they're like, well, it's like, post-apocalyptic and a whole bunch of kids that are vampires. And I was like, that sounds intriguing. And I was like, it doesn't hurt to grab an issue. Why not? I'll grab, like worst case scenario, I don't like it. And then it's like, all right, I don't want this comic to be in my list. So I read it. The cover, the art style is so good. This, like, I'm actually reviewing this. I actually took notes while I was reading it. I'm actually going to be reviewing that comic because it was good. I'm also going to be reviewing Godzilla vs. Power Rangers also. So those videos are going to be going live soon. After this, I'm going to record those. And yeah, obviously, like I said, I bought a lot of comics. Also, we have Free Comic Book Day coming up soon. The first Saturday in May. If you haven't already, scope out your area, go to their website, which is freecomicbookday.com, and see what they got. I'm going to be doing a video going over Free Comic Book Day, what's going to be popping up, and then find a local comic book store near you. Always support your local comic book stores. They got hit hard the last 2 years. I've seen too many get closed down, which is very upsetting, especially going back home, because these were stores that were like growing up were my sanctuaries, so to speak. Like I would go there every week after working, whether it was chores before I was old enough to get a job or when I had a job, working, setting aside that little bit of my paycheck and being like, you know what, let me go get a couple comic books. So please go to freecomicbookday.com, see what they got, find a local store near you, go support them, because you want to support your local businesses, and comic book shops are so far and few between nowadays that it's a good thing to do. Manga. Yes, I am going to talk about manga because I bought a lot of manga while I was traveling. Um, so I'm gonna start with some of the older stuff that's been around. I've been trying my hardest to find issue one through four, volume one through four of these, but I did finally got the Ultra Kaiju volume one and volume three. So I'm getting there. I I like kaiju so much and mechas and this and that. And this is from Subaraya Productions actually, so which is really cool. And so it ties into a lot of the kaiju's from the Ultraman universe. And I was like, I really want this. Like, let me let me get those. And I was like, I will find two and four at some point. Most of these were either at Book Off or Barnes and Noble. Um, and Target. Target has manga, so I'll go over which ones I got at Target too. Another one I picked up is my lovey-dovey wife is a Stone Cold Killer Volume 2. This is such a funny comedic manga. I like rom-coms. It's my guilty pleasure. I actually have an announcement probably around next week's episode about some manga stuff and something I'm going to be doing and working on. And now, I also got the Superwoman in Love Volume 3. There's only one more volume left, and this is done. Another rom com, but it's like Super Sentai inspired, so it's like gotta have it in the collection. But I actually read it, and it's actually really good. Like I'm thoroughly amused by it. And then from Target, I finally got Kaiju number 8, volume 2. That just dropped like 2 weeks ago or so. Um, love this so much. It's such a good manga. I have finished volume 1. I have to read volume 2 still because that's, you know, yeah. It's good. It's good. And then I picked up, so only volume 3 is about to come out at the end of this month. So there's two volumes right now. It's called Necromance. I got volumes 1 and 2. These mangas basically, this guy, there's a final battle with the Demon King. This guy ultimately sacrifices himself to protect his childhood love. His only regret is, he didn't get to tell her. And then the Demon King brings him back to life. And now he's the undead. And the main quest now is to go kill the Demon King. And I'm like, sounds funny. I'm gonna read it. And I was like, I always do like 2 volume minimum just to see if I like it. And I got a couple chapters into volume 1, and I was like, this is actually a really good manga. I actually really enjoy this. So, and it's new, so it's not too, too out there. Another Seven Seas Entertainment manga. They're doing great. I love Seven Seas so much. They're becoming my favorite manga publisher. So that's it for manga. Yeah, like okay, that's a lot of stuff. And then before I get into the video games, the main topic, well, it counts as gaming. Uh, apparently there's a My Hero Academia collectible card game. So I picked up this box, and then I bought a couple booster packs. Opened those. Was reading the rule sheet, playing around with it, and I was like, this is actually a lot of fun. I'm actually really enjoying that card game. So this might you may see some YouTube content coming soon for that card game because wow, it is a lot of fun, and I like deck building, but it's also collectible card game. So it's like you can actually just collect the cards. Obviously, every TCG, and CCG doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'm the rules are pretty easy, simple. I like it because it actually feels like a very fast-paced battle, and apparently this, I think it's like what it's called, universes. So they don't just do My Hero; they also do like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and a few other IPs that are going to be announced. But you can like battle in between, like you can have a My Hero battle against My Hero battle, like characters, or because it's universal rules and the cards are all the same. I think you could do like Mortal Kombat against Street Fighter against My Hero, Mortal Kombat against My Hero, vice versa. Like very uniform with the rules and this and that. I'm like, that is pretty freaking cool. I like that. So definitely a card game I'm going to be getting into. Because God forbid I get into another freaking card game. With card games, games in general, if you've been watching, you've been seeing the nice opening video package playing over and over again. Rune Factory 5 has owned my life for the last week and a half. It is the only game I've been playing. Um, Outside of like W Supercard, I dabbled a little bit in Mario Kart because I got new tracks, but the main game holding my interest right now is still Rune Factory 5. Obviously, because I haven't been home, I haven't been playing the Xbox or PlayStation or anything like that, but I still am playing 2K22 for WWE. And thanks to my cousin and talking this and that, I actually got back into the Division 2, which if earlier episodes when I first started the podcast in like the early 2022 or 2020 episodes, I was playing that game heavily, especially Warlords in New York. But I'm getting back into that game again. It's fun. I just wanted a tactical third person shooter with skill. Like I'm like every once in a while I get in the mood for a shooter, but I wasn't in the mood for like a first person. So the Division 2, I am back balls deep in that in my free time. So yeah, that's it for games, comics, this, that. So yeah, now now the main topic, I guess. And there's why like I don't want to talk about this stuff. I never want to be in that category of someone who's going to talk about like woke comics, woke TV shows, this and that, because I don't care. I just want to like I'm still at the point where it's like if I'm reading a comic, watching a movie, playing a video game, watching a TV show, any of that stuff, I just want it to be entertained. I don't care about any political, any stuff like that, any narratives being interjected and stuff. But I also don't get the reaching, the uh trying to trying to think how to word it. Spin a narrative, so to speak, that a show is bad or doing something woke or this and that, but it's not even true. And the main thing that I'm seeing it with is Halo and Moon Knight. Yeah, I don't get how all of a sudden now a female showing up in a TV show, uh, beating up one dude, but still somehow making a mistake and getting them in trouble that they have to get out of, and the main character getting them out of that sticky situation constitutes a woman coming in and stealing the show, and it's now woke because they're putting a woman on a pedestal, and I'm like, I don't see that. Like, and the thing is, I think I get it. When you're doing social media stuff and YouTube, you want the people to come in, you want them to view, you gotta draw them in with something, and I'm like, I get that, I respect the hustle and this and that, but it's like these movies and TV shows aren't nearly as bad as everyone's over exaggerating and building them up to be. Like I Halo's just doesn't, to me, doesn't feel like Halo. Like that's my issue with the show right now. Because I've only watched 2 episodes. I think the third episode just aired. I don't Halo just doesn't feel like Halo. Watching it, I'm just like, I'm not like visually, yes, there's stuff from Halo, but like overall watching it, dialogue, story, this and that, I'm like, this doesn't seem like Halo. And Moon Knight. I'm a fan of Moon Knight. I'm not I've never been the type where I can sit, and it's memory issues and CTE and stuff like that, but like I've never been the type where I can sit there and tell you like issue numbers, quotes from panels. Like I remember the major ones, when Stacy dying, um, or what else? I don't even, there's just so many. Like I like certain major panels I can remember, like first Venom, or even the first issue of Venom when it was solo and you got Bride of Venom. Like I can remember all those different panels, but like I can't sit there and tell you specific issues, page numbers, instances, quotes, this and that. But it's one of those things where if I see something in a movie or a TV show that's based on a comic book or a video game, and I see something that's like straight from the panel, I'm like, oh, ha, I know that. I've seen that before, you know? So it's just, so I can't, so from a Moon Knight standpoint, I'm a fan. I have been a fan of Moon Knight. The older stuff, I have a good amount of the issues. The same with like, I like Shang-Chi. Like I have a lot of Shang-Chi comics, but like that comic was never super serious, It was whimsical. It wasn't like this dark and brooding martial arts comic. Um, but Moon Knight, I was like, you know what? Since I don't have this deep knowledge right off the top of my head, I'm gonna go in open minded to the show. I always do my 2 to 3 episode rule. That's why I'm like, okay, I'll watch episode 3 of Halo. Hopefully it pans out. But Moon Knight first 2 episodes, I was like, hey, this is really good. Oscar Isaac is amazing. As like I like the his his acting in this is great. And when there is comedy moments, like in the first episode, I was like, okay, cool. But my thing is, there's no this whole woke stuff is just getting exhausting from a fan standpoint. Not even because I'm not in any circles where like this stuff is discussed. I'm not, like I said, I'm not in any fandoms. I do not subscribe to the fandoms. I enjoy what I enjoy. I'll tweet about it and that's it. I'm not going to go out of my way to join any fandoms because it's exhausting. I don't have time and I don't want to have a 45-minute discussion on like a sentence that was in a movie or a comic. Like, and I know that's a little that I'm talking about over exaggerating, and that was kind of an over exaggeration. But I've been in fandoms where like people would literally argue for like 1 or 2 hours in like a Discord voice chat or in person at a comic book shop about one panel from a comic book, and it's like, no. That's why I don't consider myself a fanboy of anything. It's just exhausting. But like at the same time though, I get the pushback of people. Like my thing is I will always hear both sides of the coin, okay? So just I'm not anti woke, but I'm not also like supportive of woke. Like I just don't care. Just write good. Just write some good stories and everyone will enjoy it. Like the only thing is I do agree with like 99% of the takes on Amazon's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I agreed like 99%. Like I just, and I already said I'm not going to talk about it in depth, but ever again. I said my spiel on it, but this is, I think it's ridiculous. You have like this great world that was built by Tolkien. You don't need to change it. It does not need to reflect current times because it's a fictional story with fictional characters. Like, I don't. So I do agree. So like, but I don't subscribe to either like 100% opinion because I think both sides make valid points on things. I just think there's more points on one side than the other that make sense. And so, like I've said before, I did a YouTube video about the MCU and like everyone's saying the MCU and the DCU, and I'm like, it's I don't know. I'm like there's female comic characters I'm a fan of. Like I was never really a big Wonder Woman fan, but I always like Black Widow. Uh, you know, Jean Grey. Uh, I was never really a big Harley Quinn fan. Not like I still am not. I don't think I ever will be. Honestly, I just don't. But I did like Poison Ivy as a character. Talia al Ghul. There's a good amount, and those are just a few. Like I still think from a it got kind of muddled out there, but Storm was easily one of my favorite X-Men for like the longest time. Now it's even from like the 90s X-Men, cartoon series, love Jubilee and Rogue, so there's a lot of good female characters. Scarlet Witch, uh never was a fan until like the House of M stuff, and then I was like, okay, please continue with this like power you have. I am very intrigued. And so I don't see how them like putting, I'm not even say interjecting, because everyone keeps saying they're interjecting females and stuff. It's like, no, that's like as if females don't exist and you're just like putting them into a environment where they would not be, which stupid. That's a stupid take. I will never say interjecting females into a story. But um I think we're just getting more female comic book characters because it's not as much of a financial risk to do. If the MCU had started and it was like Iron Man 1 and then, we just got a Black Widow movie right after that, I don't think I think even though the Black Widow film I had issues with, I think it would have definitely tanked because how many people had known about Black Widow, you know? And, you know, it's not that the character's bad because I like Black Widow. I like Black Widow in the comics. I think still it was a missed opportunity not doing anything proper with the Winter Soldier and Black Widow from a story standpoint. I think that would have been pretty cool. Um, so I just don't think it would have worked because she wasn't established in the MCU. She wasn't at the forefront in any of the comics, so people would have been like, eh. Whereas like Wonder Woman, everyone knows one. You literally everyone knows. I don't care what it says. Wonder Woman is probably like, even at the time in that time frame and now, Wonder Woman was more known than Black Widow. So I don't think a Black Widow film would have worked back in the time frame of like Iron Man 1 and like the Incredible Hulk coming out. Whereas if Wonder Woman came out in that time frame, people would have watched it because Wonder Woman's known, you know? So I will never say interjected. I will say now it's less of a risk because some of them have been established in movies already and TV series, and the comic book, movie, television uh, universe, so to speak, is more established now. So there are more ways to already get your origin stories in with Disney Plus shows and their movies, and same with like DC. They've got their movies, so it's like you can have a character show up in a couple movies like Black Widow. Black Widow's in how many Marvel movies before she finally got her own movie? And obviously her movie should have came out years and years ago. Like I think her movie still should have got the time slot that um Captain Marvel did from a release time frame. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not gonna get into that. I've already talked about how Black Widow should have definitely been put in a different release time frame. It should not have waited that long. And that Scarlett Johansson was great in that role. Like killed it. Like she always did good. Especially ever since Iron Man 2, I was like, okay, this is cool. I like her in this role. But now with all these shows, it's like, you need, and I don't know how to word it other than say like representation because I hate using that terminology. Um, I'm not, and it is like the other term I could use is diversity, and I'm like, damn it, like, but not in that sense. You need a diverse range of characters. I don't like we had the thing is Marvel with the MCU. They for so long it was just here's an Iron Man, here's a Captain America, here's a Thor, here's Avengers, here's an Iron Man, here's a Captain America, here's a Thor, here's a Guardians, here's an Avengers, here's a Captain America, here's an Iron Man, here's a Thor, and it's just like, and then there's like an Ant-Man in here, uh, Guardians there, a Doctor Strange there, and it's like okay, okay, but now after Endgame they're like, well, we can't do here's an Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Avengers, can't, like over and over and over and over again. They can't do that now. So now they're like, okay, let's do Doctor Strange, do Guardians, Ant-Man, we're gonna do the Marvels. So I was like, I get why. And they did set up a lot of characters. I mean, and so I don't see this whole woke, like emasculating, like MCU, DCU, especially when they say DCU, because it's like, dude, they like only like Wonder Woman, I believe, is getting a third film right now. Everything else they're doing, like they just did the Batman. and they're obviously going to do a second one of that. We have the Flash, and I was just like, I don't. And I know they're doing like I think they're doing a Batwoman um movie. I'm not sure. I'm not up to date on any DC stuff right now for movies because who knows what they do, honestly. Marvel freaking just gives us a big splash image, like here's all like 35 movies we're gonna make in the next 4 years. I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. DC does the fandom, and well, they got Blue Beetle and Shazam. So I don't get this whole female interjection point of view, wokeness that's being claimed. I will say that it's I don't even know how to word it anymore. It's just frustrating because like I don't follow that shit. I really don't, which is why I'm not using like direct quotes or anything. Like this is just a sometimes YouTube goes on autoplay and then while I'm working and then I'm hearing shit on the TV and I'm like, really? Like that's the opinion? That's the take you're gonna have right now? Okay. I'm just gonna go continue my work and that is ridiculous. I may have to come back to this and really like talk about it. But at the end of the day, I always tell everyone there's something for everyone when it comes to comics and movies and TV shows. You know, the same way I felt when I was 6 years old getting a Spectacular Spider-Man comic. That was like, holy crap, like this, I want more of this. And then, 30 years later, I'm still talking about Spider-Man. There could be a 6-year-old kid right now picking up Miles Morales Spider-Man for the first time being like, holy crap, character. Or a Hulk. Or, Power Rangers. Or this, like, you don't, like, you, just because something doesn't appeal to you doesn't mean it doesn't appeal to somebody, you know? And that's why I don't complain about little nuances. If it's something drastic, I'll say something, like I will make a comment about it. But little subtle things, it's like this, especially from the movies and TV show standpoint, because there's always going to be Easter eggs for us fans, but they have to they're marketing to the broad scale of audiences, even though sometimes it doesn't even work from that standpoint. Morbius is a prime example. Um, but then again, Spider-Man No Way Home is also another good example. And so there's something for everyone. And that's why I don't get all these narratives being spun talking about, you know, everything's overly woke and these hidden agendas of these companies. And I see it. Okay. I'm not saying like there's no major corporation, Fortune 500, that has clean hands. Okay. Quote Widow. They all got red in their ledger. Okay. They got red in their ledger. Every company does. That's why I have friends who are like, I don't support Amazon in any capacity. I'm like, okay, cool. I like Audible and 2-day Prime shipping. Fuck yeah. So, Amazon gets my money. It's like, and everyone's like, oh, HBO and Time Warner, this and that. Well, I got HBO Plus for free with my phone service. And did you not see Godzilla versus Kong? Did you not see my big meaty kaijus fighting? Like, come on. Like, and so people saying like this is, I don't know, it's frustrating. I don't want to talk about it, honestly. I like being happy. So I'm going to talk about things that make me happy now. There's a lot of waifus in this game in Rune Factory 5. For those of you who are listening, you're not saying there's Rune Factory 5. There's so many waifus in that game. It's I can't even pick. Cause like, I got all like the heart levels up to like, and this and that, and now I can start going on dates in the game. And I'm working on my farm. I'm tilling my land, sowing my oats, and then going and fighting monsters and shit like that. But then, you come back, you relax. Waifus walking around the town, and I'm just like, oh, hello, waifus. And I'm like, who am I gonna court? Who will be my bride to be? Who is gonna be Mrs. Farmer? It's tough, honestly. Like, it's tough decisions. Like I don't know. Like I still haven't picked yet. You know, I'm gonna get to it eventually. I will. I will start my farm family at some point. Actually, I'm just trying to level up my blacksmithing so I can get better weapons because the weapons. Like, I'm using fist weapons in the game, so I'm punching things, but I really want a good short sword so I can use my shield. And I haven't gotten a good short sword. Like, I need a good sword, and I don't have one, and it's really frustrating. It really is. Like, but this game so good. It's amazing. If you have a Switch, definitely pick it up. Um, but yeah, I got a lot of stuff planned. I got a lot of stuff I'm working on, obviously. So, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If it's red, you're not subscribed. If it's red, just click it. Then it's not red. Amazing. If you're listening to this, I thank you guys for listening to this podcast. A Nerd Mark podcast is available on all podcasting platforms. Amazon, except for Amazon Podcasts. I mentioned it at 109. I still got to fix it. I've been traveling, haven't. But it's like, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. Probably already said Apple Podcasts. And all these other ones. You can go to Nerd Name Mark. Or, wow, I fucked up the outro again. So you could just go to anchor.fm/ANNM podcast if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening to this already on anything. Like, there's a link in there anyways. You can see what podcasting platform it's on. Subscribe to it. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave me a nice 5-star review. Write something nice. I'm trying to like push more reviews, so I might start doing some review campaigns soon, just for like giveaways and stuff, just to like get some more interaction on there. I know on Spotify you can do more what's it called, video stuff and polls and everything, so I'm gonna be trying to dabble in that a little bit more as well. But yeah, if you want, you can follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, even though I don't use it that much, and Twitter at a nerd named Mark. I have a podcast one, which is ANNM podcast, but it's in the bio of my nerd named Mark one. The podcast Twitter feed is just when clips and content revolving around the podcast and YouTube channel, whereas a nerd named Mark is me, just daily bullshit and shit posting constantly and trolling. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff down the line coming from manga standpoint, more collectible stuff, more nanoblock videos. I'm gonna be reorganizing everything behind me. I started a little bit, but you can't tell from the camera angles. And the camera angles are gonna change as well soon too. But I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 110 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. We are 40 episodes away from 150, and we're vastly approaching within the next 3-4 months, the 3-year anniversary of the show. So I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 110 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. My name is Mark, and I'm a nerd.